It's been absolutely fantastic, a wonderful game of football, a tremendous promotion for our game of Australian footy. Shortly, the full scores.
KG's football show is presented for your enjoyment by A for Air Conditioning and Frontline Ford.
And there's the score in the first semi-final. Norwood, 16 goals, 9, 105 by 13 points over a very determined Central side. 13 goals, 14, 92 points. A margin there, of course, of 13 points to the Redlegs. They now advance to the preliminary final, but take nothing away from Central's. Their performance today was absolutely magnificent. A warm welcome, first of all, to Rick Davies. Rick, a fantastic performance by Norwood. I thought they were gone at the 20-minute mark of the last quarter.
Yes, the Bulldogs were very, very unlucky. I thought they played fantastic football all day, and I thought with a couple of minutes to go, 11 points up, could not possibly lose the game, but Norwood came out of it magnificent. Tradition, finals footy, and got out of it with a win.
Some tired players there, Rick.
Certainly are, but they did their job all day, and they'd be very, very happy players today. I thought when the rain started to come down during the last quarter that Norwood were going to get out of it, but to the Bulldogs' credit, they were very gallant in defeat.
Neville Roberts there looks the worst for the wear jumper, doesn't he?
Well, he didn't do much all day, except when they needed him, and that was the business part of the day. That was the last quarter. He kicked 3 goals. I think he kept a couple in the last quarter, and it just sealed the game for them.
Another special guest today, of course, is Peter Carey. Peter, welcome to the program. How did you see Central's performance?
Oh, I thought it was tremendous. You know, considering the players they did have out from last week, I thought it was a great effort, and I thought they were very unlucky to lose.
Peter, I just wonder how much effect that hard game last Sunday had on Central's in the dying moments of the game.
Well, it could have told in the last few minutes. You know, with 10 minutes to go, I thought Central's would get up, but you know, I think there's probably more of the drama during the week that would have taken more out of them than the actual Sunday game.
That's for sure. OK, more of that a little later in the program. We've also got Peter Mead and David Darcy down at Football Park. We'll take a short break, and then, of course, all the action from Footy Park.
Quality, range, service, frontline, selection, backup, frontline, $. In front.
You've both worked hard to get a roof over your head, but have you ever stopped to think of the overhead should the old gal give way? Or if the guttering gave up the ghost? It could be expensive unless you re-roof right with Stratco Contracting. Stratco can replace your roof or guttering at a very low price because you deal direct with the manufacturer. Stratco Contracting, expert installation by the people who make it.
Electronic Sales and Rentals is famous for its sales, rentals and service on national products. And you've seen these famous names telling you about our great deals.
You mean for 99 cents a day I can rent a video recorder and get 300 movie swaps?
Sure can.
You can rent color TV from $14 a month?
That's right.
And the great trade-ins you give on old televisions. I can't get a valuation like that in Dallas.
So give us a ring now. 212-7377.
It's Solomon's Carpet's 94-cent sale. We're having our 94th birthday, and all Solomon stores are celebrating with carpet laying for just 94 cents a room. Yes, an incredible 94 cents a room. Choose from Australia's largest in-stock range. Save on pure wool Berbers, genuine fine deniers, luxurious plushes, any color, any style. And have your carpet expertly laid for only 94 cents a room. Rush into Solomon's now.
You always paid less at Solomon's.
Barmy, how are you?
Oh, terrible.
What?
Oh,
you were always going to win it, weren't you?
Oh, I didn't look like it.
Didn't? When did you really think?
Well, I thought we were going to struggle halfway through the last quarter. I thought, gee, we're working, we're trying, but we just haven't got the footy.
21 minute mark, you were still 12 points down.
Yeah.
And then one barrage, Tom Warhurst through centre half back, got the ball forward, and Rocky kicked a couple from there.
Often one incident means a lot, and Tommy just decided, because I think he just knocked Andrew Jarvis over just before that. They collided, and he probably thought, I've got to do something. So it was terrific, yeah.
The stars were cut out today. They did a good job, Centrals, on Ace, and they did a good job on McIntosh.
Yes, they did, and the conditions made it a bit easy to tag because it wasn't, you know, there was no margin for error, if you like. So Yeah, they did a good job. Rowe was fair. I thought Michael still had a bearing on the game, though.
Your tactics into the breeze, it was a very difficult win in the first half. What were your instructions?
Well, we believe you can score into it. We just had to run the ball as far as we could and just try and keep it down line so that they didn't get if you bring it back through the middle, it's all over because there's a 70-yard kick out of it. But it meant we had to be very tight on our skills, which I didn't think we were.
When two stars are out, others come in. Bruce Winter's game was magnificent in the back line, and I thought David's Payne effort at half-forward was fantastic.
Yes, yeah. Well, Bruce has been playing like that all year, and Payne's threatened to, and he just finished it off today, particularly in the last quarter.
The Redlegs marching on?
Well, it looked like the Bulldogs marching on there. I want to pay credit to Central, and it's empty credit, perhaps, a bit shallow, but I thought they were very good, and I thought we were very lucky to win in there.
Well done, Neil.
Thanks,
congratulations.
David.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Michael Ace, well done.
Thank you.
Hard go and close.
Yeah, very close and very hard, and it didn't look like for a while that we were going to do it, but the guys hung in there, and to our credit, we just got there.
Well, what makes the difference in such a tight game like that, when it gets down to those last, to a few points at the finish? What makes the difference?
Well, I think it's just the will to win, I suppose, but a few breaks here and there, I suppose, helps. And we had a lucky few. Our back line held up pretty strong. And to our credit, our forward lines used the ball pretty well when it got wet, and I think that's what probably won us the game.
Michael, it appeared to us as though the wind had dropped in the last quarter. Had it, in fact?
It did drop a little bit as we were out onto half-time, after half-time, but it sprung up a little bit. I'd say it dropped a little bit, but not much difference.
Michael, can you go on from here now? You've had two fairly hard ones, although last week wasn't so bad. You came up well today and you've got through this. Can you go on here from now?
Well, we have to. It's no good winning the last two and not going any further. We're going to find it hard. We've got a few plays to iron out. We've got to go for 4 quarters, not for 2 or 3. And I think if we can do that, we can surely go on.
Well, good luck.
Thanks, David.
The highlights of the game. That's Mark Nordsworthy. How did you see his game, Rick?
I thought he played a top game today. He went for the ball. Last week he got sort of knocked out and he didn't sort of, he had to really come up throughout the week. I thought his game was excellent.
John Hall. What about the move of Peter Byfield? That's Duncan Fosdyke with a fantastic mark, having the ride there on Mark Norwood. The move of Peter Bubner from centre-half back to centre-half forward.
Well, I thought that Cowboy Neil on his way home from Football Park tonight and in the years to come will regret making that move. I thought that Bubner at centre-half back, magnificent. That nearly won the turkey, that goal by Payne. But I thought that that was the shift, putting Bubner right out of the play against the wind to centre-half forward when he was absolutely killing them at centre-half back. I really couldn't work it out at all.
Super. Bruce Winter's game, number 22, that magnificent mark. His game in defence was superb.
Oh, it was absolutely tremendous. When they were kicking with the wind, he had the advantage of being on his own in the back line. And, a campaigner that's played as many games as him just did the job perfectly for them.
Greg Thomas's goal then, Rick, they kicked goals from anywhere today, didn't they, Norwood?
They certainly did, and with Lachlan up there and Roberts, there he is in screen.
How did you see his game?
Well, I thought he was beaten by Hearn until the last. Here comes another goal here, straight in, goal. I thought that his game, he only showed when he had to, the business part of the evening, and put through a couple of goals and won the game.
I felt Connolly's game in the middle, a big crowd there, almost 25,000 people. I felt Connolly's game in the middle was superb today on young McIntosh.
Well, there's no question that he beat McIntosh for most balls, and his game gave Centrals not only this week but last week a real chance to win the game.
Philip Graham, how did you see his game, half forward?
Patchy, he kicks bad. He doesn't use the ball as well as Cowboy would like him to. He seems to scrub his kicks and they don't sort of go to any advantage.
Peter, I was surprised that perhaps Norwood didn't win by a bigger margin today. I'm taking nothing away from the Bulldogs, but when you consider they had 3 of their senior players out from last week, it was a fantastic performance, really.
Yeah, I agree, Ken. Before the game, I thought Norwood would win comfortably, but during the game, I thought Centrals had it in the bag, and it was only probably Roberts and Payne in the last dying minutes that snared a few goals for them that won the game for them.
Peter, how did you see the ruck duels? In particular, I was most impressed with Cousins and also Joycey today.
Yeah, well, they're both good knock ruckmen. Cousins is a very accomplished player. I think Joycey probably needs to work on his around the ground play, but he's a very good knock ruckman.
I just wonder how bad conditions were down on the ground, Rick, today.
Well, in the first quarter, here comes another goal
by Connolly.
I thought they'd got it then. I was starting to jump out of my seat at that stage, but I thought that the overall effort, that you can't knock Centrals. They were absolutely magnificent.
They certainly were. Their performance today was quite outstanding. Michael Ace's effort, Neil Barnes said he had a bearing on the game. Did you feel he did?
Well, he fought with Rowe all day, and I thought that Rowe did an excellent job. And I suppose we expect too much of McIntosh and Ace, but I did think that Rowe beat him today.
It must be a hard job, though. That's young David Payne, 5 goals today. It must be hard when someone is continually tagging you, Rick.
Yes, but he's had to put up with it all year, and let's face it, the big fella alongside of us has to put up with it week after week, and he doesn't seem to have too much trouble.
Peter, just looking at Norwood now, going into the prelim final, they'll play the loser of tomorrow's game, Port Adelaide and Glenelg. How have you seen Norwood's run through the major round so far? It's 2 performances.
Well, I thought they were pretty impressive against South Adelaide. Not so impressive today. I really think they should have won comfortably if they want to really go on with it.
You think it was mainly because of their attacking players like Roberts, Aish and McIntosh that were stopped, that they didn't perform as well?
Yeah, they were stopped, but as Rick said, they've got to be expected. You know, they are the key movers, and they've got to expect to be stopped. And you've just got to be able to shake that tag and still have an important influence on the game.
Well, it's certainly been a magnificent year for the Bulldogs. Take nothing away from them. They've improved out of sight under their coach Cowboy Neil. And after the game, Peter Mead spoke with their coach Kevin Neal.
Kevin, so near yet so far, but I thought today Central probably reached their finest hour as far as a league football club in South Australia. You must be a proud man.
Yes, Pete. Well, you know, I think everybody's pretty disappointed, and that's fair enough, but I think everybody, you know, that's got anything to do with the club, that knows the problems we've been under, and I don't use them as an excuse. You play your 20 players, your best 20, but I think everybody's very proud of the blokes. I asked them, you know, to give 100%, and I don't think there was anyone that didn't bust their guts, and you can't really ask for more than that.
Well, you certainly wouldn't have been disappointed with the effort of the 20 players out there today. There's no doubt about it. They gave their heart for the club, and it almost came off.
Yeah, it wasn't far away. We were looking all right around about the middle of the quarter, but we just ran out of manpower a bit in the finish, and you know, full credit to Norwood. They're under as much pressure as us, really, and at the stage where the game was balanced in the last quarter, they could have quite easily tossed it in, but they didn't, and full credit to them. And as I said, we are disappointed, but we're also pretty proud of our blokes.
Inability to kick goals in those 2 vital quarters, the second and the last quarter, perhaps was the telling factor in the overall result of the game. How did you see that?
Oh yes, yeah, well, you know, we did miss some goals in those 2 quarters against the wind, and I'm a bit of a realist. I look on the fact that, you know, even if we're kicking them out on the full, at least it's not down their end and they're not scoring. So I'm not all that disappointed that we weren't kicking goals, as long as it's up our end. But a couple would have been nice, but still, that's the way the game goes. And we had our chances, I believe, and we just really should have been a bit further ahead at 3/4 time, which had give us a little bit more breathing space, but it wasn't to be.
Okay, 84 is now finished for you. 85 you must be looking forward to with a lot of expectation. You've got the nucleus of a very good side, and obviously your methods out there have been successful.
Well, that's probably one pleasing aspect. I think, you know, after the bad publicity of the game last week, I think the boys proved today that, you know, they could play a tough, hard game and concentrate on the ball, and I thought it was an excellent finals game. We are looking forward to next year. About the only thing we want to try and keep away from is injuries if we can. Don't worry about the tribunal. There, you know, if you get them, you cop them. But gee, we had a lot of injuries this year, and we just really weren't able to have a balanced side too often and settle a back line or a forward line down. But still, you've got to get over those things, and I think we've done a pretty good job. The boys have done a real good job in the circumstances.
Congratulations on a great 1984. I'm sorry it perhaps finished on a down note for you, but all the best for next year.
Thank you very much, Peter.
Peter Mead talking to a very successful coach in Cowboy Neil. Peter Carey, first of all, have you seen the job that Kevin Neal has done, and secondly, how much have Central's improved?
Well, I think he's done a tremendous job. You know, he's a no-nonsense sort of coach. I don't think he probably says a lot, but what he says he means. And, you know, Centrals have definitely improved as a side. They're far more competitive than they have been. You know, they've still got the same skill level as they've probably had in previous years, but they've just improved their competitiveness. I am probably a little bit biased because I used to be Cowboy Neil's mascot. You know, we're both Warrnambool boys.
Is that right?
Yeah, I spent 8 years in Warrnambool, and that's where Cowboy Neil started his football with South Warrnambool, and I used to run out in the ground with him when I was 7 or 8. And
you're probably trying to recruit you now,
yeah, I'm a little bit biased, but no, I really think he's done a great job. You know, I've spoken to him quite a number of times here, and, you know, I think he's got a real good football brain, and, you know, I'm very impressed with him.
Well, they've certainly have had a wonderful year, the Bulldogs, under Cowboy Neil. And as Peter Mead spoke with Kevin there, they've certainly got bright prospects for 1985. Rick, how did you see the best players and goal kickers today?
Well, for Norwood, I thought that Winter, Payne and Thomas, and for Central District's Connolly, I thought he played a magnificent game. Peter Bubner, Pryor, and the goal kickers, Payne, 5 magnificent goals, match-winning goals, Lachlan 4 and Roberts 3, and Fraser and Moulds for Central Districts, each kicking 3.
Rick, just talking about Peter Lachlan. The ball was bounced. Neil Hines started at full forward. He was whizzed off. Peter Lachlan went to full forward. A very good move because obviously with the breeze as it was, they looked for more mobility up forward.
No question of that, KG, and Lachlan got in front on 3 or 4 occasions and took very, very telling marks, and I thought that with Wright standing him that the taller Hine would have been the best bet, but Barm beat us again. He left Kelly out of the side for Payne. Payne kicked 5 goals. He took Hine off, and Lachlan came on and kicked 4.
OK, we'll take a short break, then come back previewing the big one tomorrow. It should be a magnificent contest between Port Adelaide and Glenelg. We'll be talking with both coaches, Russell Ebert and also Graham Campbell, so stay with us.
Good to see you, Dave.
Lovely house, Bill. Air-conditioned, eh?
Ducted, mate.
Bet that cost a bob.
Don't be a goose. You ever known...
AFA ducting season is open. We'll duct an average home with Carrier from $3,100.
How many ducks?
Here, take a gander. Ducks for the kitchen.
Yeah.
Ducks for the lounge.
Yeah.
And ducks for the bedrooms.
Whack.
AFA ducting season. Phone or duck in for a free quote.
Hey, Bill. Yeah, mate. Where's the bird in the corner?
What makes a winner out of a salesman? Is it the way he quickly gets out in front of the pack? Is it his stamina that keeps him doing better when the competition gets really tough? Maybe it's that he'll put his best foot forward no matter what's happening around him. Or perhaps it's because he'll happily go out of his way to do a better deal. Because he knows in the long run, to win is to make sure the customer comes out in front.
Very high mileage vehicles, and tyres are very important. Ron and his staff are most helpful.
I've been going in for years, and he's always done a good job for my vehicles. If I get stuck, I ring up Ron, and straight away.
I don't know very much about tyres, but I come to the experts, and that's why I leave it to Ron Heath.
He's always looked after me, and his staff are courteous. I have no reason to go anywhere else.
When I drive away from Ron Heath, I feel confident.
The service at Ron's always been excellent. They're quick, they're efficient, they carry a very good range of tyres.
Ron Heath Tyres, Port Adelaide and Eastwood. We care.
Relations between neighbours can be delicate, especially when it comes to defence. Fortunately, Stratco's fencing service can ease the tension because they do the whole job for you. And no side need ever compromise because Stratco's Good Neighbour modular fence eliminates all unsightly posts and rails. That way, everyone gets to be on the good side.
Leave you to it.
Stratco Fencing, expert installation by the people who make it.
Final clash between Port Adelaide and Glenelg tomorrow looks like being a real beauty, and with me to discuss the game, Russell Ebert. Russell, you've had a fairly easy lead into the final series and you've had a fortnight's break. How are the players shaping up? Is their mental attitude right, and are you happy with the way they are preparing themselves?
Well, when you say an easy run in, we had pressure games each week to maintain top spot, and it was only percentage in at the end, so we worked particularly hard in the last 3 games. They were in heavy conditions against very competitive sides, so I thought our last 3 games were a good build-up to the finals. We earned the week's break and we worked particularly hard while we were waiting to play the game Sunday. So our build-up has been good. The lads are keen and really raring to go.
Injuries play a very important role in final series. How are they at this stage at Port Adelaide? You've got Russell Johnson, of course, on the sidelines. Any other serious injuries at this stage?
No, not really. Of course, we lost Gilesy early, and then Johnny Harvey was injured. But Russell Johnson would be the only one that is sort of out today.
Okay, there's been a lot of emotional hoo-ha about the suspension of Carey. This could be seen to be an advantage to Port Adelaide in the ruck division, perhaps seen by some people as being one of your weaker links in the team. Would you see that as a big advantage with Dexter Kennedy now that Carey's not playing?
No, I think too much has been made of the suspensions. We lost Russell Johnson a couple of weeks ago, and they lost Carey this week. So Dexter Kennedy's accepted the responsibility of the ruck in the last couple of weeks, and he really relishes the workload of number 1 ruckman, and he's played accordingly. So no, we're looking for a big game from Dexter and the other lads that will be used.
Overall, you've beaten Glenelg on 2 occasions this year. You must go into the game with a lot of confidence. Do you see any one particular position or any number of positions that perhaps will be the telling point as far as you're concerned?
No, not really. We've had players all year that have contributed, and we get 3 good players one week and 3 different players the following week, so we don't rely on any 1 or 2 players, and it's been a team effort all year that's got us where we are, and it'll be a team effort that'll win the game.
Russell, all the very best, and we hope that we see Port Adelaide going through further into the final series.
We'll be doing our best, and we're really looking forward to it.
Oh, good on you, Meady. Strike me pink. Nice and one-eyed Port Adelaide supporter. Peter Mead there talking to Russell Ebert. Peter, looking at the bays, I believe David Holst has dropped out of the side.
Yes, that's right. Ross Gibbs has replaced David in the 20.
That's a big loss for you, Peter, because his form early last week was absolutely sensational.
Yes, it has been. You know, it's been excellent. Unfortunately, he's had headaches all week and just hasn't come up.
Tony McGuinness also played in the reserves today, so he's out of the side as well.
Yes, you know, I think he pulled up well after the seconds game. I think he did some very useful things, and he'll be in contention for selection, whether it be the grand final or the preliminary final.
Adam Garton, is he in the side?
Yes, he's in the 20. As it stands now...
Have you placed the side, Sue?
Oh, we've got a few different sides placed. As it stands now, Stephen Kernahan will lead off the first ruck, and you know, he's really looking forward to the challenge. He hasn't had sort of a great deal of ruck work to do this year, and you know, I think he's going to play a tremendous game tomorrow.
Well, Rick, how do you see Glenelg's chances now they've lost Peter Carey, of course, through suspension, and now David Holst, who played a very important role, particularly early in the game last week against Centrals?
Well, Holst is a real worry. I thought that he would have gone straight into the centre, but I don't believe that Kernahan will start in the ruck. I think that that'd be...
You're disbelieving Peter?
I'm disbelieving him. I think that he should have got 3 games last week, not 2. But I think that Kernahan at centre-half forward, he's taking 10 marks each week, and he's really giving them something up there, and I think that... in my own opinion, that it'd be a shame to take Kernahan away from the centre-half forward. I think they've got nothing to lose at all. Put Garton straight into the first ruck and see how he goes. They can always make the change after a couple of minutes.
What about that half-forward line of Port Adelaide? Knight, who's kicked many goals this year, Dwayne Russell, the raging bull at centre-half forward, Craig Ebert, and of course Russell Ebert in the pocket, and Evans up forward. That's a very formidable forward setup, Rick.
Yes, well, Snout hasn't done anything wrong this year, McFarlane. Seabohm, I think, is one of the most underrated centre-half backs. He's been playing tremendous football. We all know the tough, hard aggression of Wayne Stringer. Duthie has done a magnificent job at full-back since taking over from Farquhar, and of course Farquhar be obviously wanting to do well to cement his place in that side. So I think that they've got the manpower and the strength to combat anything that Port Adelaide can throw at them. And of course I don't like to see Port Adelaide win anyway.
Oh, is that right? What about the Rovers? Peter, you must have been pleased with Kidney and also Motlop last week.
Well, they did tremendous jobs. Obviously they must have, or Tony McGuinness would have come straight back into the side, and we couldn't have been happier with their performances last week.
Your centre line, Peter, of course, is a very important line because Port Adelaide's centre line has been magnificent with Anderson and Bradley playing well there, but likewise Simons, Marshall and also Talbot played particularly well, so that's a very important line.
Oh, it is. You know, the game can be won or lost across the centre. You know, I think you've got to win at least 2 of the centre line positions to win the game, and we've had a very good centre line all year. Stephen Talbot, I thought, played a great game again on Sunday. Tony Simons played well, and David Marshall was probably our best player. So our centre line functioned very well last Sunday, and we're looking forward to doing the same tomorrow.
What about Johnny Seabohm? Badly injured last Sunday against Centrals. Has obviously made a very quick recovery.
I wouldn't say badly injured. You know, he had a
nasty hip.
Yeah, slight bruising of the hip, and probably could have come back on if we needed him last Sunday, but we decided, we're in a fairly comfortable position, so we left him off the ground. He's trained well all week, and he'll be fit tomorrow. There's no doubt about that.
What about the Stringer brothers and also Scotty Salisbury? Are they the sort of the 3 players that have added aggression to the Glenelg side, Peter?
Well, there's certainly 3 aggressive players, so they've obviously added aggression. Scotty Salisbury's had a tremendous year. I consider him the best back pocket player in the league at the moment. Wayne Stringer, actually, he was won our Ray Curnow trophy as the best clubman last night,
which is
a tremendous effort, and it gives credit where credit's due. He's had a top year for us, and Alan Stringer has had a very good year. He's a very explosive half-forward flanker.
Well, Peter, what about the suspension? Have you gotten over the 2-week suspension? Has it finally sunk in there?
Yeah, I think it has sunk in. All I hope, Ken, is something good comes out of it, and hopefully we'll get a bit of common sense on the tribunal next year.
Well, Super, how will you feel if the Bays win tomorrow, and then you've got to, of course, miss the grand final?
Well, I honestly believe it's critical we win tomorrow and get straight into the grand final. There's not much advantage. If we lose tomorrow, we've had 4 hard finals games straight to get into the grand final, so it's not much difference than finishing 4th or 5th. So I see it as an absolutely critical game, and you know I hope the boys go out there and do their best tomorrow and win the game. And I'll just have to accept being a non-playing captain.
It's hard. Peter, I believe you took your young son Matthew for a walk in the park this morning.
Yeah, we went out and had a kick, and Matthew came up and whacked me and said, "You're going to report me, Daddy?" And I suspended him for 2 games, so that's fixed him.
A bit of humour coming into the program there. Thanks, Peter. And of course, the other coach tomorrow, of course, is Graham Campbell. Today he spoke with David Darcy.
Graham, the surprise omission out of your side to me, anyway, is the 1982 Magarey medalist.
Sure, dead unlucky too, Tony.
McGuinness.
He missed a game through injury, a bad one, Dave. And the 2 guys that rove last week, we were more than pleased with. And we sat down and we thought, with the injury he had, we were a little doubtful whether he'd see 4 quarters out. We were wrong. He played a great game today in the reserves, but we also weighed up the circumstances where the guys that did the role last week were spot on, and we just couldn't drop either player. So Tony this week played reserves, and we'll see how it goes next week.
Graham, in finals, since we've had this final 5 system, how important is it to have that week's rest?
Well, I think
the week that Port Adelaide have got them.
Sure, I don't think it's that important then. I think it's important to have a week's rest after tomorrow, the Sunday game. I think, yes, it would be a good thing to sit back, lick your wounds. It's going to be tough tomorrow, and it was tough last week for us. I would not play 3, real, shall we say, energy-sapping games in a row, David. We'd like to win and go straight into the grand final, as would Port, and it is important then. I wouldn't say it's all that important at the start of the final series.
It's not, but it's a big one tomorrow for you. Port Adelaide, your record against them?
Well, this year, 2-0. 2-0. But last year, we gave a 95-point belting at the Bay. They'll never forget. Right. They didn't play us at the Bay this year. We went to play them at Port Adelaide after we played a night game against Sturt. And the first game of the year, they beat us fair and square down here. So it's 2-0 their way, but it's got to be 2-0 or 1-all, doesn't it? Or 2-0 our way. Right. I think it's more conclusive after you play a side 3 times in the season. If they do you 3 times, you've got worries. But this is the 3rd meeting tomorrow, and we're very hopeful.
Graham, how have they trained this week?
Excellent. But I don't put the... any great, kudos on training. You always train well. If you don't, you really aren't trying. I mean, you're beating nobody. You're pitting yourself against the ball. And we didn't have man-to-man this week because we played on Sunday. But it's been good. Yes.
Where do you think you can beat them?
Well, all round teamwork. That's our caper. Players feeding off each other. The fall of the ball situation. If we can get there before they do, and I just simply say this: if we get our fair share of the breaks, we'll win. If they get their fair share, they're with a real chance too.
Graham, it's going to be a great game. Good luck.
It'll be a good game, David. Thank you.
David Darcy talking to the coach of the Tigers, Graham Campbell, and it will be a magnificent contest against 2 very good sides, both Port Adelaide and Glenelg. Back with more footy right after the break.